Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an angel therapy practitioner, intuitive astrologer, Reiki master, and empowerment coach. And today is May 10th, 2022. And today at 4:22 p.m. Pacific time, Jupiter will move into Aries and will primarily stay in Aries until May 17th, 2023. And this is a very significant transit. So I wanted to do a little video and talk about it, talk about what this means for us over the next year. Aries by nature is the first sign of the zodiac. It rules the self. It rules identity to the self. It rules courage and bravery. It is being able to live in the presence of fear and act clearly and decisively. This is why Aries rules war. And I like to think of Aries as the peaceful warrior in its highest vibration. This having Jupiter, the planet of expansion, the planet of foreign travel, of philosophy, of higher education. Jupiter rules the gypsy. It rules being able to step into unfamiliar situations and finding a curiosity and an excitement and a sense of adventure. So when we see the planet Jupiter going into Aries, we see an expansion of courage. We see an expansion of our wealth as we are willing to individualize ourselves and to put ourselves into our own version. This is my life. That's what Aries really says. This is my life. It teaches courage. It teaches the ability to act instinctually. And in its highest vibration, those instincts become strategic. They become tools to move your life story forward. So let's talk a little bit about what Jupiter is going to do as far as the planet itself. As Jupiter enters Aries, when we look at it entering, it starts off at that 0 degree. It's this pure kind of newborn in the planet, newborn in the sign's energy. So there's this real feeling of fire because Aries is a fire sign and Jupiter rules Sagittarius, which is also a fire sign. So you could really start to feel this infusion of inspiration coming through and having that funny thing is we started a Mercury retrograde today as well. So you may find yourself being riddled with ideas and with these new inspirations and enthusiasms for moving your personal life story forward. We are going to see Jupiter stay in Aries and move up to the 8th degree, which is also the beginning of Jupiter being in Aries, the early degrees of Aries, which is the March-born babies up and through the beginning of April. You're going to feel this energy the most powerfully. It's affecting you first, obviously. As we get to July 28th, Jupiter is going to start a retrograde, and it will retrograde back into Pisces, where it is the co-ruler. So whatever inspirations were initially coming up for you, and that's for everyone, but those beginning degrees of Aries are going to be the most powerful right now for this beginning period. And I'm going to go through by rising sign and tell you which house this is going to happen for you, but I'm trying to give you the parameters, the basic structure right now. So as it goes back into Pisces, it's going to bring this opportunity to review what we've been doing from today through July, what ideas we've come up with, where we've become brave and expansive and reaching for foreign ideas, things we haven't done before. It doesn't mean we have to move to a foreign land. It's anything that is unfamiliar with us that brings in a sense of new life and inspiration. So when it moves back into Pisces, it's going to go back into that dreamy sort of energy, of real transcending energy, a connection to spirit, a connection to our oversoul, which is going to give us an opportunity to review what we want to implement moving forward. And then when Jupiter goes direct on November 23rd, it will be at 28 degrees Pisces. So we're going to see those real pivotal last few degrees of Pisces, which for me are the master degrees. It's where I've been in that sign. I'm familiar with its energy. And now I'm really using that with intention and with focus. So as we move back through Jupiter through Pisces, and when we enter Aries again at that 0 degree again on December 20th, we are going to really feel this sense of grounding is how I want to put it, this sense of strength and resolve to move forward and be brave and be courageous in our own endeavors. We will have this energy moving in Aries until May 17th, when it will go into Taurus. So this is a very strong period of time for us to take our beliefs and expand upon them. Jupiter rules wealth. It rules money, big money, like Scorpio. So I want to offer it this way, because as we are aware of this, we get this opportunity to become all we can be. That's why I almost want to use that same phraseology as they do when they recruit you to become in the army. And I think that this is a real opportunity to be brave as we see the world support more entrepreneurial energies. We see people on the internet becoming wealthy and having material resources as they're willing to put their own self-expression out into the world. So I'm very excited about this idea of Jupiter spending the next year in Aries. So let's look at this house by house, okay? So let's start with Aries, and then we're going to work our way through the signs. Aries, this is going to happen to you in your first house. So you may find that your whole personality becomes more expansive. Your whole sense of self over the next year becomes more brave, more inspired, more willing to take action, more established within yourself. The first house of Aries rules the house of personality. So I think what you're going to see happening here is an opportunity for you to ground in the material world the ideas and the entrepreneurial spirit that you have been contemplating for the last 2 years. And I want to offer this as well, because right now we started a Mercury retrograde at the same time that Jupiter is moving into Aries. So this is an opportunity to really start to be expansive in your thought, in your planning, in your strategizing for the next year and what you want to birth in the way of new ideas, new endeavors, and giving yourself maybe even a 2.0 version of how you view yourself and your personality moving forward in your life. I'm an Aries rising, and when I was younger, a lot of people used to tell me I was extremely forceful, and I think the word hostile had been used a few times about me. And as I've gotten older, I've honed that skill. And so I know when to be assertive. I don't know that I consider myself aggressive anymore. And this is what I think is so beautiful about Aries, is it's an opportunity for Aries to fine tune and to expand upon their strengths and to start to believe in yourself and look at yourself in a new way, and to maybe even move yourself into a place that is what would be considered a foreign environment for you. And I don't think it has to be literally like a foreign land. It could be, again, a foreign concept that you are starting to implement in your everyday life. All right, for our Tauruses, this is going to be, Aries is your 12th house. So this is an opportunity to combine the idea of what the 12th house represents. It represents our ancestors. It represents a time in meditation and reflection. It also is a house of karma. It's a house that represents anything we do alone, research, a time spent in a hospital, sleeping, bedrooms, ashrams, retreats. Now we add the Aries element on top of that. So this is an opportunity to really go into the deepest parts of yourself, into meditation as the peaceful warrior, and to contemplate where you want to expand your world, where you want to go into places you have not gone before. And I want to say, because you may have toe tipped into it, Taurus, and now here's a real opportunity for you to grab onto this idea. Now, let's look at Aries being your 12th house. You're also experiencing Uranus in your first house of liberation. So this combination, because Uranus has been transiting Taurus for quite some time, we also have the North Node in Taurus. So what you may find is that as you allow Jupiter's expansiveness in the realm of your faith, your philosophies, your sense of education, and to take that dynamic and then add it to the idea that Uranus is liberating you from something, and liberating you from something that may be fixed and keeping you small or in an energy that doesn't really allow you to grow. So here Jupiter is going to illuminate in a bigger way whatever your deepest dreams and desires are, what your karmic reward potential is. And now it's your job in many ways to be brave as you birth that over the next year. So when we see the Jupiter retrograde going back into your 11th house of networks, which is Pisces, I think this is an opportunity for you to really bring in, when I think of the 11th house and I think of it as networks, I also think of it as goals and hopes and dreams, and also another expansive money house. So Taurus, this is an opportunity over the next year for you to dig deep into your dreams, to look where you may be a little bit fixed in your perceptions, allow your faith to expand, and then to move forward in a way that gives you a stronger sense of connection with your higher self, your source energy, your higher power. You may call that God, you may call that, you can call it any name you want. But that anchoring of that belief is going to help move your story forward even more tangibly when we get to the end of when Jupiter actually moves into Taurus in 2023. Okay, so now let's go on to Gemini. Gemini, Aries is your 11th house. So we're going to see expansion in your networks, in your social media, in your circle of friends. You may find yourself being more courageous in meeting new people, new friends, traveling and finding yourself in new circles. You may even start a new, I want to use the word education, but I think it's a little more narrow or more focused than that. You may decide to expand your knowledge in technology, in, Gemini naturally rules education. It naturally rules information. It naturally rules speaking, teaching, writing, my neighborhoods, my community, my everyday activities. So you may see your sense of friendship circles growing, expanding, bringing new opportunities to you. This is really, pretty much wherever Jupiter is, there is a blanket of warm fuzzy. It can drift onto the side of gluttony and a little bit of entitlement, but for the most part, Jupiter pretty much rolls in a very warm fuzzy way. So I think this is going to bring more warmth, more expansion, more benefit to you in a financial, material way as you allow your networks to expand in ways that maybe you haven't done before. So let's say you're primarily a YouTube person, and then you decide to start to explore Rumble or some of the other technologies and networks that are going to be coming up as we move forward in this Earth experience. Okay, let's go on to Cancer. Cancer, Jupiter is going to be in your 10th house of career. This is a fabulous opportunity for you to feel more influential within your public life. And I want to offer this too, because not everybody's in the public life like on television, but everybody has a certain reputation within their own community and within their circles. So this is an opportunity for you to have more influence, to expand your career. And I want to offer it this way, because career doesn't always necessarily mean that you work for somebody else. As we are rewriting the structures of the human experience, you may find the idea that Aries being your 10th house, you're more brave and more expansive and willing to be seen in the public eye. Let's say as a Cancer, Cancer naturally rules motherhood, nurturing, home, and family. And you may decide to expand your public reputation or your public influence in very Cancerian ways. For instance, starting a blog or starting a home, gosh, my words, Mercury retrograde, thank you very much. Starting like a TikTok, or being more on Twitter, or some of these places where you're seen more, but from your Cancerian way with the Aries energy added to it. So here we're taking the Cancer, nurturing, home, family, children, and then Aries being courageous, willing to go where I've never gone before, adding Jupiter, expansion and foreign ideas in foreign places. You may find your whole career expanding in ways that you hadn't imagined just by being yourself in the public eye. All right, now let's go on to Leo. Leo, Aries is your 9th house, and Jupiter naturally rules the 9th house. So here you're going to find yourself really expanding on your beliefs, feeling as if your sense of faith in yourself, in your ability to drive your own life, I think that's going to grow exponentially. I feel as if there's a super strong power of having a Leo rising that already puts you in a place of leadership. Now we put Aries at your 9th house, which is also a house of leadership. And we put the Jupiter there. All of this feels fiery to me. Jupiter rules Sagittarius, which is a fire sign. Aries is a fire sign. Leo is a fire sign. This next year, you may feel like you're on fire. And I don't think it has to be in a way that, oh my God, the house is burning down. It could be more like passions are just like, poof, 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 poof. And I want to offer it this way, because as a Leo, you may want to take action on every single thing and every inspiration and every bit of these ideas that are coming to you. And I feel like they're coming at rapid pace, but I feel as if on some level, there's also this letting it percolate, letting these ideas kind of settle down, because what I think is going to end up happening for you is you're going to see some sort of coagulation of everything. It's almost as if this year starts off like fire rockets. And then as we go into the retrograde around July, I feel like those rockets start to, or those fireworks start to slow down, and then you start to see things come together, and it almost feels as if now those firecrackers become torches. I know I'm going crazy right now, but torches that are leading you down a path that is more authentic to the truth of Leo rising, which is to be an inspired leader, my own sense of self, my children, my enjoyment become primary to how I lead. And we start to rewrite the human experience to be enjoyable. We find that even when we are working, we're working in a lane that is more authentic to us, to what our heart wants. And so it becomes more fun. So I feel as if for you, Leo rising, that this Jupiter in Aries is going to create a bit of a firestorm, but it feels like an inspired firestorm. So I'm not being shot at with fired arrows as much as the fire is leading me down a path. I'm almost kind of like seeing Survivor in my head. You know, after your torch is out, then you walk down the path and there's all those tiki torches and they're leading you through the dark to a new place. I know I sound a little nutty right now, but I'm just going to go with it. All right, let's go on to our Virgos. Virgo, Aries is your 8th house. 8th house is naturally a house of transformation, huge transformation. It's where the human, or the human, I'll use that, or the soul goes through the experience of physical death and transcends physical death, and how that changes the beliefs. So now we see this being Aries. So Virgo, there's something about being more courageous in transforming to what brings you pleasure, what brings something about your personal identity. Again, Aries is about the self. Aries is about, you know, when I think of Aries and I think of Aries as the gladiator or the competitor, I think it's where the soul is testing the physical body. What can I do? What great heights can I reach? Now, when I look at Virgo, having this as your 8th house, it's how can I dig deep and look at my beliefs about the Virgonian idea of being of service. And am I being of service that is authentic to a deep love within myself, or have I been assigned a service that I get to transform? Again, with Aries being your 8th house, there's this really kind of crazy feeling of the 8th house is where other people's money, inheritances and taxes, and sometimes control through money. And then there's a strong sense of individuality being Aries. So I think for Virgo, what this is offering you is an opportunity to really, especially when Jupiter goes back into Pisces, which will be your 7th house, to look at where maybe you're commingling your energies. Are you being authentic to your truth and what you want to experience in this world? Or are you being absorbed in some way into your service and the agenda of others? Because I think if for some reason that's happening during the retrograde, which will be going on between July and October, there may be a bit of a disruption that takes place that aligns you more succinctly to your truth, and then giving you that transcendence, which then allows the higher vibrations of Jupiter to allow you to anchor in your faith that if you're taking care of you, you are taking care of others. All right, Libra. Aries is your 7th house of partnerships. This is going to bring a real illumination, I believe, into the dynamic of yourself versus others. Libra is by nature a house of partnership, a house of cooperation, a house of diplomacy and harmony. And on the opposite end of the scale, we have Aries, which is a natural house of action, of courage, of pushing, forcing my way through something. So now we have Jupiter in the house of Aries, asking your beliefs about how are you asserting yourself in partnerships and your own individuality. And if in some way you have been not addressing yourself, Jupiter may illuminate that and take you into foreign concepts and ideas and philosophies that illuminate the importance of the self within partnership. The health of the self within a partnership is indicative of the health of the partnership. So I think that this next year or so, those of you that are a Libra rising will allow themselves the privilege of the enjoyment of harmony, the enjoyment of cooperation, but without as much diminishing of my voice and my power within that. Sometimes Libra just does not like to be confrontational. And I remember when I was younger hearing that Libra was indecisive and non-confrontational, and I'd be like, what? I'm a Libra sun. And I've always been willing to confront things that bothered me. And that's where my Aries rising made so much sense to me. So I think this is about balance and about Jupiter expanding an opportunity for you to really feel nurtured and loved, and an exchange of energy within your relationships. All right, let's go on to Scorpio. This is going to be your 6th house of service. And this is interesting to me because Scorpio has a lot of energy going on. We're going to have an eclipse in a few days that is Scorpio ruled, or in Scorpio. We have Mercury retrograde today starting, as well as Jupiter going into Aries. So I think for Scorpio, this is going to be an opportunity for you to really dig deep into how you are asserting yourself within your service to humanity, or to your community, or your family, because there's always service. And this could be your employment. And there could be the potential that Scorpio has been, in some ways, hoping that if they worked hard enough, or if they were good enough at their job, that their employer would, or the situation would then give them bounty back. And I think over the next year, if that doesn't come into play, you may find yourself in a whole new situation a year from now when it comes to your service and your work. Because I think that there's an illumination coming that if Scorpio doesn't come out from underneath the dark, I kind of want to put it this way, okay? If you've been hiding underneath, hoping somebody would see your value, I think this is an opportunity for you to come into balance as you express your value versus hoping somebody else will see it. And it feels like it's about the work environment. If for some reason you haven't been taking care of your health, Jupiter will expand that over this next year. And I don't mean it in a negative way, like you're going to die, as much as I feel like it's going to give you an opportunity to transform that. And if you have an intuition, let's say you've had an intuition about, oh, I really got to quit smoking. I really got to quit smoking. Now might be a time to really implement that so that the future of your physical experience stands in its highest vibration. I think for Scorpio, this is going to be a very important time to trust an inner knowing. I feel like Jupiter in Aries right now is really signaling for Scorpio this deep, intuitive, and yet expansive instinct that's saying, I gotta trust me right now. Aries is very me. And here I don't feel like it's negative. I feel like if you go to the outside world and you kind of express whatever your challenges or your trepidation is, you're not going to get the answer you're looking for because it's here inside. And as you trust that, pardon me, you're going to get validation from the universe, and then it will course correct. And Jupiter will bring benefit here. It will bring bounty. So I don't need to be scared. Okay. Sagittarius, this Aries is your 5th house. This is very exciting because Jupiter will be in its natural sign. Well, its natural house, the 5th house. Hold on, I messed that up. Sagittarius rising, Jupiter rules you. So that's what I'm talking about. Now we go into Aries being your 5th house. I feel expansion for your sense of self as you endeavor your own creative, playful, fun, romantic experiences. The 5th house is naturally ruled by Leo. It's going to be the performer, the artist, meaning the creative artist, the person who puts themselves out on the stage, the person who laughs and loves. It's the most fun house for me personally. It's where the whole human experience gets a big tail wag. So as The natural ruler of Sagittarius is in its fifth house. There's a huge opportunity to bring wealth and abundance for what you are willing to birth in your own creativity. And your willingness to go outside the lines, color outside the lines, push on the boundaries, break the box, turn it into a circle, turn it into a U, turn it into a triangle. I don't care. Because Sagittarius, I feel like this is going to be something that I don't think you can really imagine what will happen when you put yourself out there in a way that feels brave beyond your own experiences. And I think the world will come back and support that. And again, I want to offer that there will be money that will show up. There will be material bounty that will be evidence of your viability and your people enjoying what you have to. Goodness gracious, I feel like my brain is having a moment here. Can't find my words. Whenever we're brave enough, like when a painter paints a painting, they're putting one of their little creative babies out for other people to judge, criticize, applaud. When a writer writes a story, it's the same thing. So anything that Sagittarius is birthing right now in the way of your own personal creativity, your own viewpoint, your own perception of something, and you're willing to put it out there, I think you're going to find bounty. And I think it's going to take a bit of a brave tenacity to move the story forward. That's Aries, continually being brave, not taking no for an answer. And I think by the time we get to a year from now, you're going to see things looking a lot different. All right, let's go into Capricorn. Capricorn, this is going to be in your fourth house of home, of nurturing, of, fourth house naturally rules home, hearth, patriotism, country of origin, our property. It rules oil, rules the oceans. So I want to offer this. I think there's a possibility that for Capricorn, having Aries being your fourth house, you may find yourself being very expansive. You may find yourself purchasing additional properties. You may find yourself expanding in real estate, or it's interesting to me because as I go into the Capricorn energy, I feel like Capricorn is really wanting to, over the next year, create more material bounty and so that they feel nurtured, they feel safe, they feel like, okay, I got this. I've got my house over here and I'm renting this property over here out. And so I feel like there's a real possibility that Capricorn will endeavor, maybe even buying land in another state or somewhere where you haven't done that before. It sounds weird to say it like that, but I almost feel like it's a foreign idea of some kind for Capricorn, where you're stepping out of the box. And at the same time, I still feel like it's about creating something that provides additional security so that you feel more solid on the ground than you felt for a while. And I want to offer this too for Capricorn. As I look at this, you may actually find yourself moving to a foreign land and staying there. I know it sounds funny to say, but let's say you're Canadian and you move to the United States and then you stay here. Or, for instance, you could potentially be offered a job in another state, another country, or somewhere where you feel like a fish out of water. And yet at the same time, it creates bounty and it creates a more substantial foundation for you to walk forward on. Don't know why I'm saying it that way. I'm just letting it come through, but it feels pretty good to me. Okay, let's go on to Aquarius. Aquarius, Aries is your third house. So there's expansion coming in networks and in information and in your influence over networks. Aquarius naturally rules the 11th house, which is humanity. It's the large network, social media. Now we go to the third house is naturally Gemini, everyday activities, my communications, information, teaching, writing, speaking. There is very much the possibility that you could get involved in the expansion of your own community in a way where you find yourself standing in a place of leadership. We're seeing a lot of controversial things happening now about freedoms and rights and this and that. And you may find yourself being impassioned in this way. You may find yourself wanting to stand up and represent freedom and liberation and independence. And this may be something that you decide to do within your own community or within your own network of people. And this feels actually really good. It's interesting to me because when I go to Aquarius and I feel that this idea of Jupiter and the expansion, while Jupiter always feels like it brings money or benevolence, this feels like there's something a little bit more emotionally attached to this. I don't know why. I feel almost as if when I look at this, if Aries is the house of self and it's my third house, maybe I am being more acknowledged within my networks and I'm feeling more appreciated and more influential. And that feels inspiring to me and may even take some of my Aquarians into local politics. You may just find yourself being excited about, helping improve your own home communities, your own neighborhoods, and just being more involved in acts of altruism within your home environment. But I don't mean your home. I mean your neighborhood home. Okay, let's go on to Pisces. Pisces, this is your second house of money. And this is pretty fabulous because you're going to really enjoy not only Jupiter moving into your house of money and expansion, but then drifting back into your house of self. So you may really enjoy this last couple of years, although Pisces did kind of Jupiter raced through Pisces, but you may, of all the signs, be able to enjoy the most benefit here because you're getting this first house, second house transit. So we're going to see Pisces, Aries is your second house. Today, Jupiter is going to move into that second house. So you may already start to feel an expansiveness within your own skills and pushing those skills into the physical world and seeing this ability to either your network is expanding, the evidence of your skills being palatable to others is expanding. And then as it goes retrograde back into Pisces, it's going to give you an opportunity to really reflect on how you want that network to be. Like there may be a little bit of Pisces that's like, okay, I want to be popular, but I don't want to be that popular, because there's always this little feeling with me with Pisces of wanting to be able to tiptoe out into the light and then sort of come back into the bedroom and have my quiet time alone, my private time, my time commingling with God and the angels. So I think over the next year, we're going to see a lot of individualizing of Pisces, feeling their own skills and their own voice being more influential, more palatable, more accepted. I want to put it that way. And I think this is going to be super strong for Pisces because of all the signs, I think Pisces has a tendency to be the most vulnerable to commingling, the most vulnerable to other people. I guess when you look at the 12th house by nature, which Pisces rules, it's the house that is behind the house of self. It's the house that we visit before we go back into the collective, before we leave the body again. So to me, this is an opportunity for Pisces to really feel the empowerment of the physical experience and their weight within that, their influence and their intention, and having that come back in a very, very beneficial and expansive way. So I think this is going to be wonderful year having Jupiter in Aries. I'm an Aries rising, so I'm looking forward to that. I also have my South Node in Aries, so I'm experiencing Jupiter starting that transit. So I get to look at where I can be egoless and trust in a bigger picture and connect with God and the angels, because ultimately Jupiter is the connection to the angelic realm and to those forces that support us without us being able to see them with our naked eye. We can only feel them with our heart. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. I hope you will like the video, share the video, come back next week. We're gonna have lots more content going on. There's so much going on in the stars. It's so exciting. Again, my name is Teri Hunter. I'm an angel therapy practitioner, intuitive astrologer, Reiki master, and empowerment coach. And if you'd like to book a session with me, my information is below and I am available. Have a wonderful day, everybody.